Hello and welcome to the Arcade Heroes Cast, Part 2. My name is Adam Pratt. I am with ArcadeHeroes.com, also the Game Grid Arcade, which you might be able to hear in the background while listening to this. And joining me once again is Sean McDermott from All Castle Games. How you doing, Sean?
Oh, awesome, man. How's it going?
Not too shabby. So we've made it to Episode 2, or Part 2, whatever. Of the reboot of the podcast. So that's something, I guess. Did you get any feedback from anybody from our last attempt at this?
A little bit. Mostly people asking for help, so I guess that's good. Hopefully I can help them.
Sweet. Sweet. I heard a little bit myself. One person wanted us to be talking about shoot 'em up, scrolling shooter games all the time. It's just... there isn't really much news about those for arcade machines. I guess that's something I run into all the time. People confusing the term arcade for what it should be used for.
Oh, yeah. Where they call, like, the games arcades, but they're the games.
Right. It's, most anything on cell phones, oh, it's an arcade game, or... I am a little baffled by people getting so excited about playing those types of games, like spaceship shooters, like our type on phones. I
each his own, you know.
I get that. I don't understand why you would want to play something like that on a tiny screen with virtual joystick controls when it would be a lot better as an arcade machine. But that's just me. I don't know. Not
I don't
popular
personally
opinion,
play those games.
Yeah, same here.
Other
But
than
anyways, so what kind of things are going on in the wonderful world of arcades on your end of the woods?
We're opening a few more locations, one of which is not signed. We placed a Pac-Man Battle Royale at the Game Room Pub in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and hopefully people enjoy it. A lot of repair work. We got a World Cup soccer in for renovation, and seems to be like a pinball month for me. I don't know about you.
To a degree. I've been fighting with a Shrek pinball, getting that up and running once again after it was down for a while. Haven't had too much else, but I've actually been looking to sell off my Shrek to help pay for other things, make a little space, maybe replace it with another pinball machine. But definitely seems to be a lot of hype out there for pinball.
Yeah, I have a lot of repair work, but as, income, I don't know, It's one of those things, it's like, yeah, they break, but is that, I have other games that are generating more money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the thing, the challenge with pinball most of the time is, even though there's a lot of hype out there for it right now, keeping them fully operational so that people will want to play them is a really tough thing to do, because what I run into a lot of the time with whether it's pinball or video games is if something doesn't work, people won't always tell me that. And I wish I had the time to every day to sit down and test out every game. I know that's what people think I do all the time, but you don't really have the time to do all that, check every switch and every button and everything else to ensure that it's working. And so you kind of need to rely on feedback, but I don't always get that.
Nick from the Arcade Hunters was in Disney parks, and they have QR code readers on all the games, which I thought was really interesting. I'm trying to figure out a way to do that myself, just because I have so many games that are out and about, out in the wild, and often people don't report problems,
Right.
It's just too much of a hassle for a quarter. So I really like to know. For me, downtime is death. So as for you, and
right. Yeah, we don't want our games to be broken. We want to fix them. It's just, if you don't know that there's a problem and for whatever reason you can't test it out, it's better if people let you know at the very least.
I'm trying to find a cheap way to do that with our website because I'm not the richest guy in the world and I don't have a huge. Well, I'm not rich by any means. And,
But you own an arcade. You have to be a rich fat cat.
The bank owns a lot of it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just the guy, So,
yeah, I go between.
So, I mean, I don't know what we're talking about anymore, but I've had a lot of issues with pinballs of late. One is the common, the stern pinball, the fluorescent blew out the ballast scenario, which happens to I've had a dozen of them, not mine, but that we've had to go out and fix. And I'm actually ordered the LED tube replacement from Marco.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I'm going to see if we can just get rid of that ballast, because the ballast blew up and I want to buy another one.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure if we can just wire that directly. I'm 98% sure it'll work. You got to remove the starter, but you don't have to remove the ballast or the transformer or whatever it is. And but I know it's fried, because generally that's what happens when because you go put a new bulb in and it burns it out within a second. That's that little ballast, and it's nothing special. You can get it anywhere. It's not that expensive, but I'm cheap,
Still, that is a problem. That's one of the things that my Shrek came across. I had a new bulb put into it, and it didn't even last a week, and it blew up already. And so, if a LED tube would work better, I would certainly.
Yeah, it's like $45. So, I'll let you know. I really stopped myself from buying the really cool back box light up kit,
Sure.
I was like, oh, we got to get that, no, we're not spending the money. No, we got other stuff,
Yeah, that's the problem with pinball, is there's a lot of cool mods out there, a lot of money you can spend, but it may not necessarily pay itself back. It's hard to know if that risk will pay off.
And also, I've had the ramps start breaking on Star Trek, so I ordered ramp protectors. It's a lot of that. The majority of my repair work's been that. Hopefully, knock on wood. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with my Star Trek ramps, but I've had an issue with a video cabinet that I got in, a little Chinese Vuelix wannabe cabinet with the weirdest problem I have ever seen, as far as I would say. Where you put when the coin door is closed, you put coins in, and it doesn't matter what coin mechanism you use. It came with a electronic coin comparator. I've tried that one. I've tried various different mechanical mechanisms. If the door is closed, the coin rejects every single time. If you open it and just put the coin into the slot, it'll go through just fine. But obviously I can't have the machine with it open there. Yeah. So I've been pulling out what little hair I have left out, trying to figure this out, which at this point I think it might be a leveling issue. But what little experimentation I've done on that so far hasn't really worked out. So
no, when you're shutting the door, it's not pushing on the coin mech in any way. You can't feel like that. That's okay.
Yeah, I even put a little camera inside there to record it to see if there was anything like that going on, and no, the door does not affect the position of the coin mechanisms at all. So I'm guessing it's just because it's the coin chute leading to the mech, which is only about an inch or so, is at a really weird angle.
I remember that we had those on skee balls, like that.
How so?
Where you drop the coin straight into the mech.
Right. That's what my Darius Burst does. It's actually one of the faults for it is the way that they set it up was kind of complicated. And when I first got Darius Burst, it was a pain in the butt because I was having coin jams all the time. And I had to go in there with a screwdriver and unjam coins. And I haven't had any issues like that in a while. But for a time, it was just they made it way too complicated to get a coin from point A to point B. And
yeah, they like to do that.
Yeah, they love to do that on Japanese, Chinese cabinets. But this one, there really isn't anything there, and that's why it's so baffling, is just because it doesn't go straight down. It's not like a 0-degree angle or 90-degree, I don't know what
yeah, that might be the problem.
It's just at a slight angle, but most American coin doors, it's kind of a leisurely roll downwards, and then it drops into the coin mech and goes from there. And that's
Yeah, but
where
it does
I
kind
thought
of
was a
straighten it
speed
out
issue.
at the end.
Yeah, they'll straighten them out. It's just when they first enter into it, they're usually rolling down a soft incline, whereas on this one, I mean, I'm not even sure if they ever bothered to QA test it to see if it actually ever did.
Probably not. No.
Probably not. Yeah.
Our initial D5 is like that. It's got to shoot by above the card reader where they can put them in, and it goes like at a 45-degree angle. Then it turns and goes straight down into the mech. Did that thing ever work?
No, not as far as I've had it.
Oh, it's never taken coins ever.
No, I just got it.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought maybe it was something that stopped working.
No, it would have been nice if that was the case. It'd be a little easier to figure out, but.
Trying to think of what you could do.
Well, that's where I was thinking was a speed issue, and then now it's a leveling issue. Has to be something along those lines, I would think.
My money's on the inlet chute, that little bit of chute there is there. It looks kind of goofy.
Well, I
know you bent
it
that.
around just to see if it was the angle of that, but it made no difference in testing. So.
Because in the past when we've had those candy calves and stuff, if that chute gets bent in any kind of way, it's like a nightmare. Like, it takes like a lot of finagling to get it to sort of work.
Right.
I mean, the only other option is like maybe I think a kiddie ride has some of the old kiddie ride timer boxes have straight down drop chutes. I think. Mm-hmm. You might be able to just cut that in there cheap.
Well, that's what I'm thinking of, is just changing out the coin door so that the coin chute is eliminated above that, and so you just have the slot right above where the coin mech is, and maybe that'll fix it.
Yeah, I mean that's probably your best bet. Just get rid of it.
Probably. But anyways, any other tech issues that you want to discuss?
No, not really.
Don't sound too excited there.
Woo, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, tech issues, what else has been going on in your world? Has it been busy? You've been...
Well, Memorial Day weekend was pretty strong for me. I don't know how other locations have fared with that, but generally speaking, whenever school's out for me, it's really busy. And I have good holiday weekends pretty consistently.
Well, we've had some rain, so I got lucky there. But the movie's been hit or miss, So.
Well, that was the thing. I was reading that the Memorial Day movie viewing weekend was the lowest earnings since 2001. And of course, there's constantly other economic factors where.
It seems like they say that every year.
Yeah. I know. I read a tweet by Ben Heck that where he stated that movie theaters are in a death spiral where they keep raising prices to make up for the lower earnings, but when you drive those prices up so high, it kills demand, where people don't want to go and spend that much money. I mean, I went to see a comedy show based on from the Riff Tracks guys.
Oh, yeah. The Room.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I love Mystery Science Theater 3000. Seen plenty of really crappy movies like Manos, the Hands of Fate, or Final Sacrifice. I mean, that wasn't too bad compared to some of the older stuff, The Unearthly and whatnot. But, man, The Room is just... That was a baffling film that it exists in the first place, but it was great. I laughed hard enough that I had a headache afterwards from laughing so hard. They did a good job ripping that into shreds.
I just missed that too. I heard about it like the day after it was in the theater. Right. I was like, no! I was really angry. And
right.
Well, around here they started a $5 Tuesday thing.
Yeah, my theater that's in the mall here, they do that as well, and as long as I remember that, I can go see a movie in IMAX for $5, and so I think that's good that they do it. But either way, for anything else, like just going and seeing that Riff Tracks thing, I took my brother, and it was I think almost $40.
Jesus.
And so it's just like that's not something I want to be doing every week, and. So
I don't want to make you jealous, but I get free movies. So
now I'm jealous. Look
I'm
what you
sorry.
did.
You'll have to come to Wisconsin to see a movie.
At the rate movies are going up, it may be more economical to do that.
It may be cheaper.
So, yeah, when I worked at an arcade for the Carmike Cinemas, that wasn't too far away from me. They closed down last year, but yeah, I get free movies back then. But all good things must come to an end.
All right, so in news, what we got for news here, Adam?
Well, I guess speaking of movies, we could segue that into the big movie that came out today that many people in social media was eagerly looking forward to, the short comedy film Kung Fury. And the only reason why I'd mentioned that is I took a look at it. It's on YouTube for free, so anybody can pull it up. I guess I should add the disclaimer, it is not safe for work, it is very gory, some swearing in there, things like that, but if you're fine with any of that, then it has an arcade scene pretty much right at the beginning, with an arcade that goes berserk. I won't get into spoilery territory, but yeah, there's some arcade goodness, other 80s arcade goodness with 80s style phones and computers.
Whoa, you said the arcade goes berserk? Like, what do you mean?
An arcade machine comes to life and goes berserk. So,
kind of like Maximum Overdrive, huh?
Yeah, something kind of like that. So you'll have to watch it. It's free, so you don't have to pay $30, $40, $50 or $100 with snacks. You can bring your own snacks. Watch it on your big screen TV that has YouTube.
I don't know. It's so much work to click on that.
Oh man. And so it may be a contender for best film of the year. That might be too high praise. Obviously, they kept it short so as to not draw on with it too much B-moviness, but plenty of very funny jokes. Some 80s nostalgia without being too ham-fisted about it. So overall, thumbs up for me.
I will definitely check it out, and I will be looking for it at the Oscars this year.
It probably won't get there just because it's not some obscure movie nobody actually wants to watch. But
I'm sure it's awesome, but usually awesome things are obscure.
Well, the thing about it is that there's a part in the movie where he starts beating up a lot of these Nazi guys, and you're just thinking, Double Dragon.
There's Nazis in this movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the main villain's Kung Fuhrer, aka Adolf Hitler. That's not a spoiler. That was in the previews for it.
Oh, in the trailer.
But yeah, he gets into full arcade beat 'em up mode against a bunch of Nazis, and I was watching it at the same time. I had a friend watching it. He's actually a big gamer himself. He was the editor for Game Fan magazine for a number of years, and we were watching it at the same time, and he was saying, I was thinking the exact same thing when I got to that scene. Is like, there should be a beat 'em up game of this. Now, apparently there is on Steam for PC, but it's a very watered down thing. Apparently all you do is push left or right, and it just kind of automatically beats up enemies for you. I was thinking something more along the lines of Double Dragon, where you would have to actually push buttons to pull off kick moves, but either way, it would make the perfect arcade game, so unfortunately that's not happening.
We need a Kickstarter for that. Come on.
I guess so. That's the only way it would get anywhere, or maybe after it's viewed 5 billion times, then a manufacturer would be like, okay, it's worth the risk. But
that's going back to the last week, with the fighting game dilemma.
Right. Yeah, that's what it falls into. I mean, there hasn't been anything to come along that's really revived the brawler or beat 'em up genre. I mean, we did have like Ninja Turtles and Double Dragon show up on Xbox Live Arcade, but or there was Castle Crashers. And I know there's been a few other ones on PC out there, but nothing that's revitalized the whole genre like Street Fighter 4 did for one-on-one fighting games.
What about Mortal Kombat X? I mean,
but I would say that kind of comes out from, because Street Fighter 4 came out in 2007, 2008, and that seemed to kind of or jumpstart the fighter genre again,
Oh, yeah,
interest
yeah.
in it, and that kind of helped. I think that kind of helped Mortal Kombat. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but yeah, I mean, of course, Mortal Kombat X right now is, I think, the top-selling game on consoles.
No, it's Witcher 3 now.
Oh, Witcher 3. Well,
yeah,
I know it changes all the time, but I did see Mortal Kombat X was #1 for a few weeks. So obviously it's still got a fan following, and I think we mentioned on the last podcast, it would be awesome to see Mortal Kombat in arcades again. But likewise, I think for brawlers, it would be really good because you could innovate a little bit, say, with different displays. There's curved displays, there's ultra-wide displays, things of that nature, which you could use to kind of change things up a little bit, so that would give it that arcade advantage. I know that's why most manufacturers don't want to touch anything that's a joystick button combination, since that's too easy to convert over to game consoles. But
we just need to talk to Eugene Jarvis, and we say, hey, Raw Thrills, we need a fighting game. License this Kung Fury movie thing.
Well, I heard years ago from a very good source in the industry that Raw Thrills had some sort of virtual reality fighting game that they were prototyping, but obviously it's not gone anywhere since we've never seen anything about it. But apparently they've kicked the idea around, and I also asked Eugene Jarvis himself a few years back. Actually, first time I met him in person, I asked him about what he thought about twin-stick shooting games, since he obviously innovated that with Robotron 2084 back in the day. And his words to me was that joystick games just don't make any money, and so they just weren't really interested in doing that. Now, if they could find a way for them to make as much as, say, Jurassic Park Arcade is right now, that might be a different story, but that's
I don't know,
pretty much where it falls from
their
their point of view.
If these barcades keep popping up, they're gonna eat that stuff up if they make a Robotron sequel or something,
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I think there's been a growing market out there. A lot of these barcades, retrocades, classicades, nickelcades, whatever, where it's going to be difficult for them to sustain business based upon really old games for a long period of time. And I know others have brought that up. Nolan Bushnell has mentioned that that keeping that sustained for a long period of time is going to be very difficult. I mean, that's what I see with my classic games. I do have a few people that'll come in and consistently play classic games, but for the most part, they don't earn even a tenth of what a brand new game makes.
Yeah, but that's like a movie theater still playing, like the 1938 Titanic movie or something. Right. Still, or like movies from the 80s. They're still playing Ghostbusters, expecting people to come in and spend $20.
Right.
But if we had a new game, that wasn't on an iPhone, it wasn't a console game, that was only the place you could play this would be at your local pub or a movie theater or whatever, they would make money. Hands over fist. I mean, so.
Right. I think to a degree we saw that with Pac-Man Battle Royale, where that was probably
came out
half.
Xbox.
Yeah. Well, the Battle Royale version, it eventually came out for PC, but it was the version where it's only one-on-one. And so the arcade version is still superior from everything I've read and heard about. But yeah, that for a while it was completely arcade exclusive, it did show that a game that's low cost with a good name can do well.
Yeah, it is on Xbox 360. They had it at Midwest Classic. It was really depressing.
Right, yeah.
But you don't get the same experience, I think. I was sitting at the bar with a bunch of your friends drinking beer. So that's definitely a beer drinking game, because when you're dead, you got nothing to do but sit there and wallow in your loss. Chug beer. The whole Pac-Man thing kind of leads us into our next news topic.
Yeah, speaking of Pac-Man, the news everybody was talking about last week, Pac-Man turns 35 on May 22nd. To celebrate the newish location, level 257 in Schaumburg, Illinois. Am I saying that right?
Schaumburg.
They held a big Pac-Man Bash celebration. A lot of celebrities were there. You had Toru Iwatani, who was the original creator of Pac-Man, or I guess I should say Professor Toru Iwatani.
I'm glad you pronounced it, because I was screwed up.
If I butchered it, they can't find me.
And he's not the guy in the Pixels movie. He's not.
No,
that's an
he's
actor.
not. It is an actor portraying Professor Iwatani. But you had Billy Mitchell there, the world's best Pac-Man player, to show how to get to the kill screen. Kill screen's coming up. And Walter Day, who's still famous from his days at Twin Galaxies, which I'm pretty sure he's not involved with Twin Galaxies anymore, but still recognized for his work in the past for arcade high scores and those things. You had Eugene Jarvis there. I shared a photo to the Arcade Heroes Facebook page showing him and Professor Iwatani coming up with a Defender meets Pac-Man game mashup idea, laughing over that. So looks like it was a lot of fun. I wasn't able to make it myself, but
yeah, I have no excuses.
Yeah, you're right over there. What are you doing, man?
Okay, listen, I was there like 2 weeks before, and I just didn't feel like driving.
You missed it just by that much.
It was on a Friday night, and I would have had to leave here at like 6. So I don't know. I drive enough in this job, so
we'll forgive you this time. But just rubbing it in, there was only one time this was going to happen.
I was there for his 25th birthday, okay?
Right.
And they released a special game for us,
But that's the thing is, for the 20th, 25th, and 30th anniversaries, they did do a release. With the 20th and 25th in particular, they had a Miss Pac-Man Galaga combo machine, which I'm pretty sure they did a coin-operated version for a time on both those.
Yep, they were coin-operated.
But for the most part, it was non-coin ones that they were selling to homes. This is the official way to get Pac-Man, so you're not paying some Chinese bootlegger to get that on there where it might break down soon.
I think that was before the 61s came out.
Yeah, that was. And then with the 30th anniversary, you had Pac-Man's Arcade Party, which had those 3 games on it, plus several other Namco classics. The coin version did not have Miss Pac-Man, though.
There was another one, though. There was the 20th anniversary, which had Pac-Man and had Galaga and Miss Pac-Man cabinet split in half. And then there was another one that came out at 25. It had Pac-Man on one side. It had Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and Galaga. It was almost the same thing, but a different cabinet.
Yeah, the first one was kind of the blue
That's the
and
one
black,
I had.
And then the 25th was a yellow.
Yeah, I had that one. It had that logo. It had a custom little logo with Pac-Man. His little, hey, look at me, I'm 25. You know?
Yep. And then to follow up on that, that's about the time Battle Royale came out. Royale didn't come out exactly on the 30th year, but it was close, and kind of came out of that whole Pac-Man mania. And then if you go to Namco's website right now, namcoamerica.com, they have tons of Pac-Man products on there. Pac-Man Battle Royale, Pac-Man Smash, the air hockey game, the Pac-Man basketball game, the skee ball game. So they went to town on that, and I think
not to mention he's in Mario Kart.
Right, and he's in Mario Kart DX. So I'm guessing that because they did all that, we haven't heard anything about a 35th celebration game.
Wasn't Arcade Party that? I don't know. They just came out with that.
It was the 30th anniversary.
Oh, there's 3 of them.
Well, they have the cocktail version, which you can get in wood finish or black. They have two upright versions, the cabaret version, which is non-coin, and they have the coin version. I've not heard of any others.
No, there was 3 re-releases. There was the black and the first one, the 20th. There was I want to say a 25th anniversary one, and then there was the Arcade Party. There's 3 different releases. And then, but what you're talking about, there's coin op and non-coin op models and cocktail and stuff like that.
That's all the Pac-Man Arcade Party. Chicago Gaming is producing.
That's what you can still get.
Yeah, they're reproducing the 20th with the 3 games, and then Namco's still doing the 3 versions of Arcade Party, but none of them are like this year recent. They're within the past few years.
Right.
But,
No, the yellow one I bought was in like 2004.
yeah, that was the 25th. But anyways,
Yeah.
there's plenty of Pac-Man out there to enjoy. I ran a post on Arcade Heroes going through the history from Pac-Man through the years, covering some of the more obscure titles like the Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man Pinball, which I did forget to put on there at first, thanks to a commenter, Chaos, for reminding me to add that one there. I was kind of rushing through it so that I got it posted the day of.
They do have that at 257, by the way, so. You know.
Oh, nice.
It's awesome.
Do they have all of the Pac-Man games? Is it like Professor Pac-Man, Baby Pac-Man, Pac-Mania, Pac-Man VR?
There's no VR. They had Baby Pac. They had Pac-Land. They had that special level 255 one where you can play the last two levels of the game.
Yeah.
They had a split one where you can see the inside of the cabinet. And then in the store they had an arcade party you could buy. And then it seemed like almost every one of those tables that you could sit at had arcade party running on it. It's a custom cocktail. Like, it was built into the table. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of Pac-Man there. Not to mention on the walls and whatnot. So
it's not a bad idea for more restaurants to do that. I know there have been different ones that have tried something kind of like that before, but not enough for me.
I wish I had more time to spend there. You know, I wish it was a little bit closer. But it's like 3 hours from here, so on a Friday night for me to drive 3 hours, that
it's not an impulse buy sort of thing.
I can't really. I don't have. I had. It's at the end. It was at the end of the month, and we had to do our books and stuff. So, I would have had to come back by early next morning. Gotcha. So I really regret not going. They did have Bunker, the people that made Pac-Man, Bunker and Garcia, one of them. They were there. What was left of them? They played a live. Pac-Man Fever song, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Not something you would come across too often anymore.
And I think there was some sort of cookie eating contest too. It looked like.
Oh, nice.
Don't quote me. I wasn't there.
You could just be making stuff up.
Like
for
I said,
all we know.
I probably am.
Well, either way, happy birthday, Pac-Man. We're glad to have you in the industry. Us arcade operators would not be the same, not have enjoyed the same level of success without the Pac-Man series. So hopefully Namco gives us some more video Pac-Man in the future, and we'll see how that ends up.
Yeah, I mean, Pac-Man Battle Royale is a damn good game, so they got the right. I wish the one player was a little better. So maybe it's you have the cool one.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my hands on the rare, ultra rare, super rare, I don't know what to call it, prototype, which I call 10 edition. I really don't know why they didn't just release it this way or offer the upgrade out there. It's not a huge change. It just makes it so that you can go into the options and set up how many AI players, so that if you are just playing the game by yourself, you have 3 other men to compete against that are computer controlled. But that does make it a little more enticing than what's out there. As a one-player game, the standard Battle Royale is pretty dull.
It's very boring. It'd almost been better for them to take the tournament edition from Xbox and just make that the one-player game.
Right,
honestly.
right. But since they didn't, we got what they...
Well, they'll sell it to us as a kit.
Yeah. I mean, well, they won't. Unfortunately, that's one thing we could probably get into for a podcast in the future is what's happened to all the kits. And from what I've talked with, I've talked to a few people in the industry about this, and just the manufacturers have zero interest in kitting out games because they can make a lot more money off of selling off big cabinets, not kits. So, yay!
The joy.
Yes, the joys of the industry. I guess speaking of joy in the industry, there's one company that's certainly, at least lately, it looks like they've been doing pretty well for themselves, Sturm Pinball. They've been really building on their social media outreach as of late. They're on Instagram now, posting pictures and video there constantly. They're doing a lot on Facebook. I've been kind of ignoring their YouTube channel, but still, if you've been watching the Facebook or the Instagram pages, they've really been putting a lot of new stuff on there, showing the new factory, which is a post I ran today on the site, showing KISS Pinball in production, going through the different betas on that for the software. What's your opinion on
my opinion?
Stern's been going?
Oh yeah, that's right. I work here. Oh, it's kidding. It's very good. They have a new guy doing it. I don't know his name. He's a Pinside guy though, so that it's kind of like they did a complete 180. Stern used to be so tight-lipped, almost too much, and now it seems like maybe it's gone too much the other way. But I'm not complaining. So, I mean, the only thing is they release videos on Facebook. I wish they would just post them to YouTube as well.
Right, that's the problem I've had. I don't know what's been going on. This is an inside baseball thing, I guess, but my website, the WordPress, has not been allowing me to embed the YouTube videos anymore. It used to, but recently when I was trying to post the Stern videos, it just wasn't allowing me to do that. So I've just had to take the videos and put them unlisted on YouTube and share them that way.
Yeah, they did something with YouTube to change the embedding, but yeah, Stern Pinball the guy who's doing it is excellent. I wish I knew his name. I'm really sorry. But yeah, they're doing everything from the mundane details of everyday life in Stern Pinball Factory, and to a walkthrough video of the factory, to like here's a shot, and then if someone complains about something on Pinside, they're like, hey, look, man, this is we had the table wrong and stuff. This thing really does shoot right. They're addressing everybody's concerns, and also they've been coming out with code in a timely manner. And,
it's a refreshing change. I mean, it's what they should have been doing before they had competition, but better late than never, I would say.
And they've been releasing some really weird cryptic stuff about future games, like a little crack the code kind of thing too, which is, I think they're just trying to fuel the fire at Pinside, get people guessing, maybe.
That really is necessary in today's social media driven world. I mean, one of the aspects of marketing, of good marketing, is to keep people, or to keep your brand or your company in people's minds constantly. Because if you never update it, then people are going to forget you, especially with all the stuff that's being thrown at us every day. And so, they're really doing a good job about that, and they have enough games to keep it interesting. Because there are some smaller pinball manufacturers out there which they only have one game, and after a year of seeing them posting about the same game, you're kind of like, okay, whatever, let's move on here.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried that might happen to Stern, because I mean, there's quite a leap between production between titles, so they've also.
Well, that is changing though. I mean, if you look at it, normally they've done 4 titles a year, and we're at May for this year, and they already have 4 titles out. They have WrestleMania. They've been working on the Medieval Madness. They've got the Whoa Nelly and Kiss, and then whatever Steve Ritchie's going to release soon. So that'll be 5.
Which I heard it might be Star Wars, but don't quote me. That's what people are starting to speculate.
I've heard some saying Terminator, some saying Star Wars. If they're smart, they'll have Episode 7 ready to go in time for the movie. Or if not them, then anybody would be smart. If they miss out on that boat, that hype train, then that'll be kind of pitiful, really.
They've also been working with people on Twitch called Dead Flip Pinball. I don't know if you've ever watched Twitch. I definitely check it out. They do a really quality live stream. Mm-hmm. And Stern's been loaning them games like Whoa Nelly and brand new.
Okay. Yeah.
They were playing the new Walking Dead code and stuff. So, but the stream is pretty quality.
That's good.
So definitely check it out if you're bored and you want to watch some pinball.
Right.
Yeah. I wish Papa did more like that, but I want to see some real tournaments more often.
Yeah, that would be a little more exciting to see.
Okay, well, I mean, that leads us into more pinball. It seems like pinball is dominating the news.
Yeah, there's been virtually nothing on video games since Vegas, the Amusement Expo. I've not heard anything. I've actually been trying to get some video from upcoming games. for E3. I tried to do this last year, where I was trying to get some previews to launch a video at E3 time so that could get some of the arcade news out there while everybody's paying attention to video game news. But the way this industry works, they never want to reveal things in the summertime. It's either November or March, and maybe August once in a while. But yeah, so far I've had zero feedback yet, but I'll keep trying. Maybe I'll get something. But
well,
yeah, pinball's there at least.
In Redemption news, I know that there's been a game floating around here from Baytech that's like a Flappy Bird merchandiser. I don't know if you've seen anything.
That was at Amusement Expo. That's where I saw it, and it was getting a bit of attention there. It was getting more attention than the straight ticket version, just because I think, in my view, Adrenaline Amusements, which released, well, first they called it Flappy Tickets, and then they changed it to Flying Tickets. That's just a super game. It's got a bigger screen, and it has two-player simultaneous play. So even though it doesn't have the Flappy Bird name, I think because there's a billion Flappy clones out there, nobody really cares about the name itself.
And it was on test at some Walmart, so... I was like, where is this at? Because I saw somebody, like one of the Claw guys that does Claw videos, he posted a video of it. I'm like, where can I get this game, man? I'm like, I want that.
Yep.
But and I'm looking for quality merchandises because we don't have tickets, redemption centers, but I have a lot of places where we can use merchandisers. And another one we looked at with Pac-Man was like Pac-Man Chomp Mania, So
right.
They do make a gift card option for that. So
I heard there was, but I not really looked into it.
They add an extra like $700. That's basically the difference.
Oh, only that for a game that was already kind of overpriced to begin with. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for some used ones.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
But yeah, that was a weird tangent. Sorry. Pinball.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get it out of pinball for a minute.
Yeah. Highway Pinball. I also posted about that. This is a UK manufacturer, which has been proving themselves a little bit already. Where they had already manufactured 200 to 300 games for a beer or wine company. First off, I think it was a year or two ago, and right now they've got their factory over in the UK producing their new Full Throttle pinball game, and also working on the new Alien Pinball, which originally they had said April, but now it's looking like the first playable prototype will be ready by August, and then hopefully production units will be available shortly after that. But what I like about what they're doing, in addition to trying innovative stuff like putting an LCD above the flipper area on the table itself, is they've designed a cabinet which is fully interchangeable with other games. And so when they release Alien, if you have a Full Throttle, you can swap the games out in about 10 minutes. And I think that's a really cool idea. Whether or not it's going to be big seller for them, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I still love the idea of being able to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're probably on par with being the second. They're going to be pretty huge, I think.
Right, as long as they don't stumble. From what I've seen, it seems like some of the new blood that's come in is done all right with the first one, but then it's the second one, and if they can get the second one out, then they'll be in a really good position.
Yeah, and it seems like they have a pretty quality factory. I mean, they're talking about churning games out like Stern, not like this boutique kind of model. So, which is starting to lead into problems in the industry. But,
right. I mean, as many people into pinball know, there's been a lot of problems with some of these new guys. I mean, I've loved Jersey Jack for what they've done. I think they should be recognized for. They really started the fire, I think, because it was when they were launching out, had ideas on Wizard of Oz that it started changing what Stern did with like the multicolor LED lighting, the sound system, the LCD talk. I mean, I know Stern hasn't done that yet, but they're supposed to before too long. And so, I I mean, they did some good work, but they've really been stumbling because The Hobbit was promised last year, and it's almost summer, and we still have no idea where The Hobbit is. There's been a lot of talk behind the scenes that there's money problems, and of course there's the ELOT lawsuit against them. So they have headwinds. I mean, I don't want to see anybody fail.
No, in fairness, we should. Jack has the opportunity to come on here, and if he wanted to, and give us his side of the story.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to hear that. I'm sure there might be some legal things that you can't, but I know he's already stated that he's going to vigorously defend that. It's just unfortunately that stuff's not free to defend. But
yeah, I mean about everything. He could come on and just say, hey, we're still selling Wazes, and why stop,
Right. So, yeah, I've heard plenty out there about Wizard of Oz's and those showing up on locations and collections. It's just really need to get that Hobbit machine out, I think.
Yeah, I mean they have people that have money into it and they're not getting product, and that's always a bad thing. And that
right. And the movie came and went. I think the third one was kind of disappointing for a lot of people, but still the game probably should have been along then and not sometime after when everybody's already forgotten about it. I mean, it is The Hobbit. That is kind of a timeless thing, but
weren't they promising it before the last movie, before the second movie was made, and then before the last movie released theaters or something?
That's the thing is, I mean, not just with collectors, but with game operators that want to put this on site. When you keep moving the goalposts like that just doesn't fill you with confidence, and so
I can't. Like I said last time I was on here, I can't be putting money in a company and waiting for a machine to arrive like 2 years later. I need it now, So.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, we're the ones that. I mean, I know they're spending a lot of money on development for it, but you're asking people to plunk down $8,000-$9,000 for a pinball machine, and pinball machines haven't always shown to be that high of an earner. I mean, in some instances, some locations, perhaps, but you need to be able to fill your customers in with that confidence that you're going to fill in your end of the deal. Because if you're without that money, then it's going to end up like Predator, Paul, where there's going to be lawsuits, there's going to be bad blood, people are going to hate you, your reputation's going to be ruined. And I hate seeing that happen to anybody.
Yeah, it's sad, and it's happening to Zipware too. So
right. News come along that with John. How do you say
Papaduke.
his last name? Papaduke.
John Papaduke. Yeah.
Okay.
I've met John Papaduke a couple times at the West Gaming Classic, and he's a nice guy. It's just it's a sad situation where it's either he didn't have the business knowledge to, foresee how much money he was going to need to produce these games, or there may be some sort of just misleading people, criminal kind of thing. I don't know, But people didn't get their product, and they're not getting a refund, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I feel really bad for those people, So. Right,
and the thing is that poisons the well. It makes independent pinball radioactive because as this keeps happening, if it's happened with Predator, it's happened with Predator. If it's going to happen with Magic Girl, I mean, at the very least, it seems like John's been a lot more upfront with communicating with people. So hopefully that works out for the best.
Well,
I don't know all the details.
Only after the lawsuit started.
Gotcha.
So
okay. Wasn't aware of that. So.
But he was. I mean, it's been 4 years. And there's no game. So, and they're talking like there's this new company called Pintasia that's taken over. Mm-hmm. They were given the license or sold the license from bankrupt Zidware, or soon to be bankrupt, and some people are getting credits transferred over as long as you want Magic Girl or something like that, but they're raising the price of the game, so essentially you're buying another game anyway.
Wasn't it already an almost $10,000 game, or?
Yeah, now it's a $16,000 game.
Holy crap!
Well, there's another one that was announced, Magic Girl Classic, which is between $10,000 to $12,000, but they're coming up with. Yeah, but they're coming up with these price points without doing bill of materials. So So anyone with, any business knowledge knows that price is a bunch of it's vapor. It's not real. So who knows? And then this is the company that's taking his debt. I don't think so. So
situations.
It's basically there's the Coast to Coast Pinball and Nate Shivers podcast covered the entire thing in extreme depth if you want to listen to it. Gotcha. And there's like an extremely long pinside thread you can read if you got 100 years. Yeah.
I'd gone through the Predator pinball one, but I had not seen the Zidware one. So
yeah, and I tried to prepare for today's show just by trying to catch up on it, and it's like every time I go there's like 100 new posts, and I'm like, wow. I can't read all this stuff. I'm just like, right. Yeah. It's making me ill. It's just like no more.
Right. Yeah.
So.
I guess the moral of the story, kids, is if you're going to get into the pinball production business, it's a heck of a lot more expensive than you think it is going to be. And so I know when you have companies that have been long established, like Stern, I think people look at that and they think, oh, that's easy to do. Oh, I can come up with a pinball table. I mean, I've come up with a design myself that I think's clever and all that, but really getting everything down into a format where you can test shots, prototype it, come up with the software, the rules, all the parts, make sure the parts can withstand the beating in a commercial setting, all those things to come together. I think it ends up being a lot more than even some experienced pinball guys even realize, like John. He did Theater Magic, he did...
Circus Voltaire.
I mean,
Tales of Arabian Nights.
He had that experience for designing, but maybe not so much on the business end. If you don't know the business end, you're gonna fail. It's kind of like the Kevin Kulek with the Predator pinball was saying, well, we're just a punk rock band doing things our own way. And it was, well, when you're dealing with taking $1 million worth of people's money, you can't really just do things your own way. There are laws and things that you have to, there are certain things you have to do to keep a business afloat and it not be a scam.
When Gary Stern, and a lot of people don't like Stern, but a lot of people do. But when Gary Stern says it costs $1 million and 1 year of time to just design a pinball machine, that's not hogwash. That's real,
Right, and that's with having everything at your disposal, all those resources that have already been put into making other games, and
that's that's not paying for the facility.
Right, you don't have that, all the wages and insurance and taxes and everything else that probably go into all of that. I mean, it's a lot of money that you're talking about.
So when John Popadieu came along and said, hey, we're going to make this ultra elite game and it's only going to be like 20 units sold or something like that. Yeah. If you do the math, it's like, okay, well, it takes usually $1 million to design this. And that's a Stern machine, okay?
Right.
And that's not like a Jersey Jack or an old Williams machine. Who knows what they spend? And what does that come down to per game? That's not $16,000. I mean, you're not going to make money. You're going to have to sell hundreds of them, or thousands. And it just didn't compute to me, and that's why I didn't buy into it.
Right.
But, I mean, the games are beautiful, though. I see why people like them. It's just... It's too bad,
Right, it is, and I guess the only other one I can think of would be the, you've got the, what were they called, Vonnie D pinball. I noticed after their Kickstarter was successfully funded, we've not heard a single thing from them since, and they claimed that they were going to have their Pinball Gremlins title ready by October last year, and it's made nothing. And I've tried reaching out to them just to find out, I was like, hey, got any updates? And they let me static.
This whole starting a company with pinball pre-order money is that whole model. It seems like it's just destined to fail.
Yeah, I think it's a proven failure at this point. It's like, how many times do we need to see it completely fall flat on its face before?
Jersey Jack, they did the same thing, and everyone followed suit. And the only one that's been kind of doing it right is Spooky Pinball. Mm-hmm. But Chuck spent a lot of his own money too, and Ben spent a lot of his own time. So that cut a lot of the costs down.
Right.
So it remains to be seen now that they got the ball rolling if they can keep it rolling. So I mean that's something to watch. And I know they're releasing their new game at the Northwest Pinball Show, so they'll be announcing that. So we'll see if we can get him on. I don't know. It's the Rocky Mountain Pinball Show, I think.
Oh, I think that is next month. I want to say.
It's in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. I think.
Oh, gotcha.
So.
Yeah, June 12th through the 14th.
We'll see if we can get him on here to discuss it, and
yeah.
I already know what it is, but I won't say it.
Dang it! Come on, give us the exclusive.
No,
all right.
I want to keep the inside knowledge going. So
gotcha.
It's just let me it's going to be awesome. All right. That's all I can tell you.
Looking forward to it. For those that aren't aware, Spooky Pinball, they've released, it was limited to the release, I believe, maybe 100 units or so. Is that correct? America's Most Haunted Pinball.
Was it? Maybe it's 150, I think.
150. And so they're another new manufacturer that's coming along. So, yeah, with them having a second game, that fits what I mentioned earlier. If you can get your second game out, then I think that'll definitely fill operators in with a lot more confidence.
Well, they seem to be, they're extremely nice, and they're very supportive of people who buy the games, so I would definitely trust buying a game from them, and you're going to get it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of what people were leery at first. There's people that bought into it, but they weren't selling them really good, and then people started seeing that the games are shipping, and they're real. It's not the Predator, it's not Magic Girl, it's real deal.
Right.
People got to play it, that they sold out of them pretty quick. And hopefully they have a bigger production run for this next game.
Right.
Which is going to just blow the other one out of the water. I'm just telling you.
Well, you've got us all excited now.
It's a licensed game, that's all I can tell you, and it's awesome. So,
sweet.
At least from my point of view.
Gotcha.
So we got some new locations that are opening up, looks like.
Yeah, between the last podcast and now, found out about a couple of locations opening their doors in the USA. Always on the lookout for new locations opening. I love to report on this so people out there know that there are arcades or other venues that are offering some arcade or pinball goodness. The first was a pinball-centric business, the Pinball Lounge, which was part of the Oviedo bowling lanes in Oviedo, Florida. So they've added a pinball lounge there, and at least from the grand opening pictures, it looked like a lot of people were out and about to enjoy those games, Lord of the Rings and various other sweet games. The other one is another bar arcade concept. They are called Tapper's Arcade Bar, and they're not open yet, as far as I know. You can always double check their Facebook really quick.
Where is it located?
That's in Indianapolis.
As well? I'm sorry.
Yeah. The Pinball Lounge is in Florida, Oviedo, Florida, which is outside Orlando. And Tapper's Arcade Bar, they looks like they haven't opened yet. For their social media, they've done really well. They have over 3,000 likes for their Facebook page, and they're not even open.
That's a good start, man.
That's a thing. With my own arcade, I've been open for 7 years, and I've been on Facebook the whole time. I don't even have over 1,000 yet. I'm not doing something right, but it could be. I've noticed it seems like the bar arcades generate that a lot more of those likes. But one thing I've noticed, I don't know if you've experienced this, but at least for my own business, the social media just hasn't done a lot, I guess. I have a lot of people that like it that are out of state, which, I'm totally fine with that. It's not like I'm saying, well, you shouldn't like this page. But when it comes to getting people into my doors here, obviously that doesn't do you a whole lot of good. And I've heard some other operators complain about that too, where they're like, I've spent money on Facebook advertising, I've tried to get people out, and it just seems like nobody reads it. Have you experienced that?
I've stopped Facebook advertising, like paying money. I have a couple of Facebook accounts. We have the AC Games Live account, and then we have the All Castle Games one. That's because I couldn't figure out that we needed to make like a company thing.
Right.
But this way, what I ended up doing is I was just doing this little game where I could see how many friends I could get on Facebook by just like adding friend requests to all the ones that suggested.
Uh-huh.
And I'm up to like 990 something. So I tend to post on one and then copy to the other.
Right.
But I have no way of telling how well this works because like unlike you, I don't have like somebody there or I'm not there.
Yeah.
You know. So. But yeah, I have games all over the state. You know, we have our sticker on them. You know, and we have the little van, which is going to be awesome. I'll show you a picture of sometime when we get the graphics done on it. It's going to have a big Pac-Man on it, but hopefully I don't get sued. And,
yeah, you probably want to avoid that.
If David Bishop's listening, just come on. I worked for you guys for like a long time. I gave you a lot of years of my life, so just let it slide.
Please the sugar on top.
Please, because otherwise I'll have to put something from Nintendo on there. You know, and come on. Yeah, I have no idea of knowing how well it's doing. I have done it. It does work well we've had a few tournaments with my pick of the month game, kind of, which would be Initial D, but we'll get into that later. And it seemed to generate some for that, but in reality, I don't know. Our website generates more, I think. I've done Google advertising because we sell a lot of games more than we operate, so. I mean, I sell a couple games a month, so
right.
Someone's finding us. I had somebody request a crane rental because we rent out crane machines, and I had somebody request a rental that was in Indiana. So I'm like, yeah, sorry, we're in Wisconsin. So, you know, so something must be working. I just got an Instagram for the first time too, so I'm
nice.
Are you guys on Instagram at all?
I probably should be, I guess. No, not yet.
It's not that hard to set up. You need a smartphone. I don't know if you have a smartphone.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. And it's basically you just take a picture and post something. It's actually a lot easier than Facebook.
Ah, gotcha.
When
post your mills.
When you got cool things, I mean, I got in 24 hours we got like 25 followers, so I think that was pretty good. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's something.
Because we're posting all these really awesome stuff, like you stuff you have, you should definitely go on there. Gotcha. You have areas first and all kinds of awesome things.
Gotcha. Well, I'll have to take a look into it and get off my butt and see what it's all about.
It makes you do it from your phone, though. You can't use a computer, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Okay. Sorry, I'll ramble on until you should have a bell.
No, I think that's good. In fact, one of the things I wanted to comment on that you mentioned there, just to go on another tangent, I know a lot of people are out there looking for rentals, but the challenge is you always have to look for local companies like yours. There's no nationwide arcade rental companies, and I know that disappoints a lot of people, but that's just the reality of the situation. It would just be too complicated to try and manage something like that over such a huge geographic area.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Namco could do it. I don't know.
Yeah, they would be the closest ones.
They used to be large, but who knows?
Right. It's not as large as it used to be, but I see that out there. People asking, can I rent a machine for this or that? And it's like, well, you can if you can find somebody in your area that owns the machines, find an operator, but not all operators will use social media like you do or advertise. I know a lot of them will just find a place, go in, talk to the management, put the games in. There's not really a huge need to get their name out there as long as they've got locations.
That point right there where talking to the management and getting the games in is not as easy as you just said it is.
Right.
that is an art form.
Yeah.
But you don't rent out games? You don't?
I could. It's just I don't really have the equipment to go driving around Utah to do that. I've had the request once in a while to my arcade. It's just I've had some people that want to have me take all 50 of my games and put them in a place for 2 or 3 days, and
that's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games to move. That's a lot of work to get that there. I don't really have the resources to do that, and I don't even think I could contractually do that. Shut down at the mall for that long. So. Well,
I mean, you could probably get away with it by just leaving one game there and have somebody stand.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, for you, you'd have to. There's a lot of bookwork that goes into it, like calculating how much things cost is very important if you can rent out equipment,
Right.
and cost of transportation, labor. In the event of 50 games, you may have to rent a 20-foot truck with a lift gate and stuff, and then the loss of revenue that you're gonna have where they're at now. So.
Exactly.
Uh,
By the way, you can hear people in the background playing Pac-Man Battle Royale right now. So if you hear the screaming in the podcast, that's what it is. It's all right. Let's go ahead.
People enjoying themselves. Darn it.
Ain't them whippersnappers? Get off my lawn.
At the end of the day, that's our job, to make sure people have a smile on their face, and they leave with a good memory. So.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's a hard thing in this business. It's like all about the money all the time, but in the end of the day, you have to remember that you have to put smiles on people's faces. They have to have a good time. They gotta feel good. I mean, it's not easy. It's easier said than done. So.
Yeah, it's an entertainment business that's just a little different than some other forms, but still entertainment at the end of the day.
There's a lot of showmanship, especially if you run a ticket counter well.
Yep.
Not to stand there with like, oh, you got what you want yet? Come on. And when the kids come up to the ticket counter, all they see is the Tootsie Rolls, for one ticket. They have 1,000 tickets, and they're like, ooh, I want those candies. I'm like, well, and the mom's like, you're not getting 100 of those candies, It's like, you got to kind of go, hey, look at this, we got this awesome ninja sword right here, like
only 50,000 tickets.
Yeah. So I mean, you can get them out of there quick, if you have a little persuasion and a little bit of pizzazz, I guess. So.
Sure thing.
Oh, they're definitely having an awesome time.
Yeah. See, multiplayer games that are video that don't vomit tickets out, they work. You just need the right places. So.
I miss that, man.
Yeah.
I don't like lingering around the locations anymore. I look like a weirdo. So.
Right. Sure.
No, just kidding.
I guess we are getting a little long here, so
let's go to you have your what's the pick of the week for you? What game?
Game pick of the week. I'm gonna go back in time again. Last time I did Assault by Atari Games and Namco, which came out in 1988. Want to stick with Atari again, I guess, with their Zybots game, which came out in 1987. I don't own this one. I did have an opportunity to get it once back when I had a choice between Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom or Zybots. Can't remember why exactly I went with the Dungeons & Dragons, and I kind of wish I would have went with the Zybots. But either way, very cool game, very innovative at the time, graphically ahead of what you would find at home. Kind of a third-person shooter as a predecessor to first-person shooters like Wolfenstein 3D. Cool joysticks where you could twist them and turn your view around, and split-screen action as well. You could buy upgrades between matches. Don't know if it ever got anybody as excited as Pac-Man Battle Royale does, but
it's an awesome cabinet, I see. What did you see this game as a kid and you just remembered it?
Well, I remember it more for the Atari Lynx version than I remember the arcade. I have played it in arcades before. I was probably 18 when I first came across it, which was well past the time that it was being sold on the market. But I was at an arcade in Portland, Oregon when I was visiting Portland. Our family was making a visit up there. But the Lynx version was really good, actually. I mean, the Atari Lynx had a lot of good arcade ports. Allowed you to link up the players, and the graphics were pretty solid on that console as well.
They almost look better.
I mean, it's hard to say. I obviously the arcade version would have had higher resolution, and you could fit all of the information that was needed onto the screen on the arcade, whereas on the Lynx, it's just like one of those smaller screens onto the Lynx screen. You push a button to see the map and that sort of information.
I'm just going by the back of the box, so I don't. I'm just Googling this because I'm like.
I'm guessing you haven't experienced it then.
I probably have. I just, I remember this cabinet. I don't know why. It reminds me of Xenophone. I don't know why. That's not my pick, though.
Gotcha. Well, tell us your pick for the week.
Well, I mean, that was a pretty good pick, Adam. I don't know if I can top that.
Sure you can.
I'm going to go a little more modern. I'm going to go with the Initial D games from Sega. I always coined the phrase that this was the last good arcade game, like the last real arcade game. Like, as for like not kind of like just a casual player's game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an in-depth racing game. It's after the anime,
Right.
which when I first saw it, I had no idea, but
Just another racing game is what it looked like.
well, it had these card reader things, and it's kind of like, what is this all about? And it was Namco bought a lot of them, and they bought them when they were new, and we had a bunch of people coming in and asking for it. You got to get Initial D. They have it done in Milwaukee. You got to get Initial D. And finally, every time our district manager would ask us, "What game do you want?" And I was like, "Well, get us Initial D," and we get rejected. And the first time I actually saw it was I went to I did a lot of repair work for Namco outside of our store at other stores because of issues, and I saw it there, and I played it, and I'm like, it's actually a good game, and it has the Sega use these magnetic memory cards. They're kind of like credit card size, but they're not as thick, and they kind of flex. And it basically what you do is you can save your car. You buy this card for $1, and it lets you tune up a vehicle. It has this like story mode. It's like an RPG. You go through the story, you earn points, you battle these racers and stuff. And when you play in, what really set it apart in the arcade though is when you play it, it plays like a fighting game. Okay.
Right.
So if you're playing the story mode, someone can come up to the machine and challenge you, and then it'll stop your story game. This person will put in their card, and that's where it really gets interesting. And you earn more points and everything by doing verse matches. It keeps track of all that stuff on your card. It actually prints your name on the card, and it reprints like if you get past something in story mode, and you can earn stars in battle mode and stuff, and it prints that on there, so you can it's like, hey, this is my name, this is my card, I'm awesome, look at me. And actually, people were selling these cards on eBay and stuff after they maxed them out and stuff. It's actually a game that I still have, and it still earns very well.
Which version?
I have, at any given time, we have at least 2 or 3 of them. I have a version 2 right now and a version 5. And I think they're up to 8 in Japan, I think. They're still making it. So.
Yeah. They actually, the Round 1 USA in Illinois, I forget which city it's in, actually has 4 of them, I believe.
Yeah.
4 Initial D8s. They're the only location I've heard of that has the latest version here, because Sega, I've read one of their guys actually wrote about this kind of as a response, because I'm sure they get emails about that almost daily, like, why don't you bring Initial D over? And their response was that nobody wants to play one-on-one or skill-based racing games anymore. What the masses want is dumbed-down, casual, basically kind of a watered-down Cruisin' USA, essentially.
There's some truth to that, and then there's some truth to the other thing too. Like we have our version 2 earns gobs of money.
Right.
I'm not going to say how much, but
come on,
it's our number 1 video game, and it's in a place where people know it and they love it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've seen at my own arcade, unfortunately, I don't have one. I've never come across a pair that was in good enough condition that I wanted to get in here. I've come across an Initial D3 a couple of times, but the card readers were destroyed and the cabinets were beat up. But, I mean, I've had people calling in, and, I mean, I pay some attention to what people ask for. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't make sense, when you have one person like, oh, I'll be here all the time if you get this one game, and I've done that before, and you never see that person or most anybody else, and nobody plays the game. But some games you do hear people asking for various times, an Initial D or Maximum Tune, the Maximum Tune series, which is Namco's answer to Initial D. I've had people call about those various times. And I know there's a lot of fans that want the latest Maximum Tune. They're up to 5 there. Namco went up to 3 here in the States.
I thought they're not bringing 5 over. I thought they were.
Well, they talked about testing 4, and then the assumption was that 5 was going to get that too. There is what they call an international version, which is what they released to Australia, Hong Kong, Malaysia, which actually is in English. But I believe Maximum Tune 5 has an online server thing as kind of a security region locking measure, and every time I brought it up to Namco, what they say is we don't believe we can sell enough of them to warrant bringing it over.
I had a version 3 of Maximum Tune, and the card readers are better. I mean, the card readers were the crux of the initial D series.
Right.
Most operators took them off because they're a nightmare.
Yeah,
and,
maintenance nightmare.
And when those card readers go down, it takes the whole game down.
Right.
It will take both sides down and say, hey, we have a card reader here, and it's a service call, and I have 7 card readers to keep 2 working, kind of thing. So, but version 3, I have it in Maximum Tune. They didn't like that quite as much. I had one place where they did. If you put Initial D and Maxi Tune together, they will play the other one. Some people, but the problem I had with Maxi Tune was the build quality was crap. The computers, they had they weren't quite as good. They had video card issues. They freeze. Namco likes to use the cheapest connectors in the world. So like
you would know since you used to work for them.
Well, I didn't build the games, but we had this, you come in with a handle. It would call a handle error, which is the wheel, it would say handle error, and it's like handle error, and you would fix it, and it would go away, and it would come back, and it's when you have a route, you're not there, and if it has this weird problem that happens once in a while, it means that the game's just going to get a bad rep. It's not going to earn, and you're not going to know why sometimes because you go there to collect and the thing's working, and then, a minute later it's broken. You don't know because you're not there, so... but it turned out to be like once you get the connectors basically replaced, basically to the pot on the steering wheel was one of them I found. It was the game worked fine. Get a better video card in there. We had one with a bad motherboard that kept crashing. It's just stuff like that. It makes me leery of buying any Namco driving game. But I do have a lot of Namco stuff, so I have near-end cycles and stuff like that. And they've kind of taken that fighting game model and moved it to the casual, so you can interrupt players on that game too, which is a good and bad thing. Some people get confused and they get mad. Well, those are the same people that can't find the start button at a pinball.
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, I kind of I've had a problem with my Outrun 2. I have an Outrun 2 twin, and with the coin doors, almost all the time, people will sit down in both of them and they'll put all the coins into the left side.
Oh, you got one
which is in the middle. They ignore the right side, and so I have signs all over the machine saying, "Do not. If you're sitting on the right, do not put coins in the left."
Here's what you do. We had this problem years ago with Cruisin'. Was it Cruisin' World or something? And Fast and Furious, all the games that came after, like they had that coin box that was in the middle, and then they have one off to the side where you never see. What you got to do is you take, I don't know how to explain this the right way, but the coin box that's in the middle, you take the rightmost mech and you cover it with a sticker that says 1 player, and then you do the same on the other side. And what they'll do is they'll walk into the middle, and they'll see that, and they'll say, "Hey, look, this means 1 player," and or player 1 or something like that. That's what we did, and it eliminated that problem. It gives them that extra second to look over to the other side, and that it actually solves it. And I learned that from the old Cruisin' USA games, which only had 1 slot, and people didn't seem to have that problem with that one, and they were having the problem with the other one that had 2 slots on each door. So you eliminate that rightmost slot, and it will definitely get rid of that problem, or space the games out farther if you can.
It's a Sega model that's a twin, so there's no way to do that.
Okay. It's like
the cabinet essentially.
It's like the Daytona 2s. And
right.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely, just make a sticker or something, or tape off that one. It's better to make a sticker that says player 1 only, and stick that right over the rightmost mech where they want to put it in when they sit on the left or the right side, and then they will look over to the other side. It's like magic. Just trust me.
It's been working with the signs we have there. I mean, occasionally you still get somebody that gets confused by it, but yeah.
It's got my guarantee of money back guarantee.
Seal of approval.
Money back guarantee. That will.
Not my money, just yours.
It's a free cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So that's my pick, Initial D.
Sweet.
We got Zybots, and so.
Well, I guess that should wrap it up for us. This has been, I think, a longer podcast than last time. So if you're still with us, congratulations. Thanks for listening this long. Hopefully we haven't bored you to tears with our Inside Baseball. If you loved it or if you hated it, let us know. We'd love to get your feedback. And
yeah, we hope to do some sort of viewer mail thing kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, mailbag.
We get some questions.
Yeah, right now I just kind of have to make up mail. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work.
I had some mail.
From Illinois.
I got all the hate mail.
That's right. Send hate mail to Sean.
Where should we send? Where should they send the mail to?
You can go to the contact form on the Arcade Heroes website, or just go to our Facebook page, Twitter, and send it that way, and be happy to include it on the next podcast. And of course, we'll cover whatever happens between now and 2 weeks from now. With the summer season starting, hopefully it's busy for many arcades out there. On my end, it usually is anytime school's out. But I've heard some places may be really busy with tourists coming in. Some places may be slower because everybody leaves to go touring somewhere else. But either way, if you have an arcade out there that you come across, give them more than just your praise. Give them some of your money. That helps them stay in business and keep on gaming.
Yeah, and if the game's broken, call the number that's on the front of it. Don't kick it.
Yeah, that just makes things worse. All right, well, thanks again for listening.